and community development specialists, national and international consultants in strategic communication, corporate crisis management, peace building, public relations, and gender stroke right issues. She is a certified professional mediator, trainer, and specialist of peace journalism, conflict transformation, do no harm, and a digital literacy rights, global peace let's talk PR executive, head of IP ambassador, Rotary Peace Fellow, alumni, GPLT PR executive. So that is about Roslyn Oba. And I'm so glad about Roslyn Oba because she's very, she really encourages us to work together. So allow me to welcome Roslyn so that she can take the floor and share more about the topic of today. Thank you very much and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omonti Didan. I actually appreciate your submission. And also, I want to let the forum know that Didan is actually one of our project coordinators who has been assisting us with all the programs, or almost all the programs that we're organizing at the Global Peace Let's Talk International based in London, UK. So thank you very much, our moderator, for today. And a very warm welcome to everyone, to all our participants joining us from across the globe. I am deeply honored, and I wish to first of all say Happy New Year. And I wish you the very best of 2026. And it is my honor to be here as we International Day of Human Fraternity. And this is a day that calls on all of us, not just leaders and policymakers, but every individual to reflect how we live together and how we treat one another. And just to let us be reminded that we are living in an era of rapid change and transformation. And this has to do with globalization, migration, digital connectivity, and social movements that have brought people closer than ever, yet many divisions, whether cultural, religious, economic, or political, continue to create tension and misunderstanding between us. So it is precisely in this context that the message of human fraternity becomes not just relevant, but very essential. Now, today, I hope to share reflections that are both philosophical and practical. And I want to show how human fraternity is not a lofty, abstract ideal, but a framework for action in our daily lives. And throughout my presentation, I will be dropping some questions and will encourage all of us to drop our proposals, our feedback in the chat room. So please feel free to answer or to respond to those questions in the chat room. So I'm going to be asking some pertinent questions that will prick your mind as to how you have been encouraging human fraternity at your different corners. And so when you hear the term human fraternity, I just want to ask you the first question. What comes to your mind? Kindly just drop a word or two, what you understand by human fraternity in the chat room. Please, this is for all of us. Just type one word or phrase in the chat and take a moment to reflect silently. 1 or 2 minutes for reflection, and then please drop your responses. What do you understand in one word or two as human fraternity? I will be reading your responses, and this is for all of us to actually learn something. I'm happy, Marisa, with your response. You mean brotherhood. To you, human fraternity means brotherhood. Please let me have other contributions. What do you understand by the term human fraternity? A word is enough or a phrase is enough? Kindly drop it in the chat room so that we can learn together. I'm waiting for your comments. I'm waiting for your feedback as to what you understand by human fraternity. And we have this from Ojuju. We are welcome on the platform. And Ojuju says it's respecting everyone, regardless of race and religion. Thank you very much, Marisa. Thank you, Ojuju. And Victoria says peaceful coexistence among people. Brilliant. Thank you very much. You can see that we are getting towards the same line of thought. And of course, Ivanu says concern for one another. Fantastic. I like that as well. So you can see that there is something that has to do with all these responses that we've actually had in the chat room. It means there is a connecting factor that has to come into place when we are talking about human fraternity. Please kindly drop your feedback. Gavin, thank you. Global solidarity. This is very important. And I just talked about the global connectivity. You see that we're coming from different countries. Some of us are attending this live all the way from the UK, from India, from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Congo. And this is the wonders of global connectivity thanks to the digital world. And Dr. Shimanes, it's a pleasure hearing from you. She says universal brotherhood as well as sisterhood. Wonderful. This is really, really important when it comes to human fraternity. As we reflect on the feedback of one another, I think I just want to thank you for making us to learn a few words that connect around this particular word, human fraternity. Now, let me just summarize all what your wonderful feedback has given to us. And human fraternity is the understanding that all human beings belong to a single human family. You now see where your brotherhood, your sisterhood is coming from. You now see what respecting each other, regardless of culture or religion, is coming from. You now see how global solidarity and all the answers you've given is coming into play, regardless of nationality, religion, race, or socioeconomic status. It is the recognition that every human life has inherent and equal value. Every person deserves dignity and respect. I remember Ojuju mentioned that. And then differences are natural and should be approached with curiosity and understanding rather than fear or hostility. So, fraternity does not mean we erase identity, opinion, or belief. On the contrary, it encourages us to embrace diversity while maintaining a commitment to mutual respect. It asks us to approach each interaction with empathy, seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. Now, let me take us to a real life example. Imagine a neighborhood where people come from different backgrounds. One family may follow a different religion, another speaks a different language, and yet another may hold distinct political views. Fraternity is what allows these neighbors to live in harmony, support each other during all times, during challenges, and celebrate differences without tension. Now, I take us to another question that demands our feedback in the chat room. Have you ever experienced a misunderstanding or conflict because of a difference in culture, belief, or opinion? I just need you to say yes or no. Have you ever experienced a misunderstanding or conflict because of difference in culture, belief, or religion? Thank you, Ojuju says yes, which is normal. Gavin says yes, which is normal. Those differences coming, and those are the realities we are seeing on the ground. Victoria says yes. And please kindly drop your feedback. I'm so happy that Marisa says yes. And you can see that all the answers are in the affirmative, that we have all agreed that there exist misunderstandings and conflicts. If almost all the time, Sylvester, yes, says yes, Silvano says yes, and you can see that all of us, and I join you to say yes. And now, this is what this is taking me to. The International Day of Human Fraternity exists because peace cannot be sustained by itself without values, dialogue, and conscious effort. Simply stopping conflict is not enough. We must cultivate respect, justice, and empathy. And this day serves as a reminder that coexistence in diverse societies is not automatic. It requires effort. I may understand this in this light, and you may see it differently, but we just need to respect our understanding of issues. Depending on our cultural backgrounds, our religious backgrounds, we just need to affirm our differences and give each other that space. And of course, interfaith and intercultural understanding are essential for sustainable peace. Shared moral responsibility is a collective task that requires action, not just reflection. Now, I take us to the next one. Consider for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, in many communities around the world, families, schools, and neighborhoods experience tension due to miscommunication, misunderstanding, even within couples, even among brothers and sisters. There exists prejudice or mistrust. So, observing this day is an invitation to pause, reflect, and recommit to bridging those gaps. Now, this is a little assignment for us all. Think about your community. Think about your home. Think about where you spend most of your time. Are there tensions that could be eased off if people choose empathy over judgment? And how might that change the environment? Kindly just drop your feedback in the chat room. I take it again. Think of your community, your human relationships. Are there tensions that could be eased if people chose empathy over judgment? And how do you think this can change the way we relate to one another? Let me just have one or two responses as you get inspired. Sorry. So can you just think of your human relationships or your community? Do you think there are tensions that could be avoided if we chose empathy over judgment? Yes, I will for sure. Thank you, Ojuju. And how do you think it can change your human relationship or your environment? Can you just answer that as well? So please, okay. Shabina Ali says, very rightly said, we should choose empathy. And Victoria says, exactly. Something can definitely change. And how do you think that change can affect our environment and human relationships? Thank you, Ojuju. He says, by creating an awareness which can be open to everyone's understanding. Thank you very much. That is quite insightful there. And Marisa says, tensions can be changed through communication and openness. Very important. Thank you, Marisa. So let's pop up with our feedback. Think about your community. Think about your day-to-day human relationships. Are there tensions that could be avoided if you chose empathy over judging one another? And how do you think that can change things for the better? I wait for your responses. And just to add that today we face a wall of full paradoxes. While technology connects us instantaneously across continents, social, political, and cultural divisions remain stark. Social media and news outlets can unite voices as well, but they can also amplify fear, misinformation, and of course, hostility. Now, I'm happy with the responses of Shabina Ali, who says, what can change in the environment when we choose empathy over judgment is that empathy builds relationships, that's for sure. It builds community and nurtures all goodness in society. Amazing. And Gavin says, yes, as someone living in refugee settlements surrounded by host communities, there are always tensions between refugees and host community. And I believe that these tensions can be eased if people involved can be empathetic towards each other. Wonderful. I think this is just the right magic to change things for good. And Ojuju says, especially when people believe in different categories of understanding, like language. That's a great point there. And Victoria says, by propagating peace and living it. We don't just preach it, we live it. And when we live it, positivity would actually thrive in our spaces. And of course, Marisa says, if one's attitude is I don't care, the tensions, of course, will escalate. So we need to even develop that Ubuntu spirit. I am because you are. So human fraternity challenges us to listen actively rather than react impulsively, to seek understanding rather than judgment, and to choose dialogue rather than silence. Now consider how online discussions can be able to devolve into conflict. People respond to differences with hostility rather than curiosity. Fraternity will invite participants to pause, ask questions, and seek to understand the perspective behind the comments. Usually, people will just see a comment. Before you know it, they have responded to that question without really thinking or reflecting. Now, in your opinion, what is the biggest barrier to human fraternity today? Kindly, is it fear? Is it ignorance? Is it prejudice? Is it misinformation or something else? You can add more words that acts as barrier to human fraternity today. What, in your opinion, is the biggest barrier to human fraternity? I await your feedback in the chat room. If you also feel like to respond to the question, you can also click the raise your hand button and you can speak for a few seconds. What, in your opinion, is the biggest barrier to human fraternity? We got fear, we got ignorance, we got prejudice, misinformation, misunderstanding. You can add more to this, especially looking at our digital world today. So as we proceed, I await your responses, what you think actually causes causes that stumbling, what is that stumbling block that impedes human fraternity? Oh, Juju, thank you very much for your active participation. You say there is lack of compassion. We don't really put ourselves into others' shoes. Information and not allowing people's voice to be heard. That is very, very important because there are times whereby we think that we know it all, or we don't allow people to express how hurt or how much they need to speak up in order for a situation to be saved. And of course, I want to thank Honorable Professor Dr. Mbe, who says selfishness. Yes, I agree with you, because there are people who think that should be all about them and they don't think about others. And Charles, thank you. The us versus them mentality. We always want that competitive spirit, which is not healthy at all. And of course, Gavin, cultural and religious misunderstandings, which, of course, like we said earlier, we need to affirm our differences. And Silvanus Bangura, thank you. Marginalization. When you relegate some people to the background, you definitely would see that it serves as barriers to human fraternity. Thank you all so much for your active participation. Now, let's look at this. Global challenges remind us that no nation, community, or individual exists in isolation. Issues such as pandemics, climate change, forced migration, and economic inequality affect us all either directly or indirectly. Thank you, Charles. Economic inequality and loss of common moral language. These are things that come in as barrier to human fraternity. Now, human fraternity, let's look at it in the positive light. It teaches us that solidarity strengthens resilience, cooperation saves lives, and compassion builds trust and social cohesion. Now, I take us to a real life example. During the COVID-19 pandemic, countries that shared knowledge, resources, and vaccines demonstrated fraternity in action. Communities that supported vulnerable populations, elderly, marginalized, or economically disadvantaged, embodied these principles at a local level. And through embracing shared responsibility, we move from an every nation for itself to one where collective well-being is prioritized. So human fraternity, we can see that it actually plays a greater role in making sure that at some point we are able to see that there is that connecting factor that needs to always bring us together. And Shabina says, ignorance, lack of understanding, fear of losing power, identity or security, historical grievances, unresolved hurts, passed from generation to generation, are all things that can come in to serve as barrier to human fraternity. Very, very important to always reflect on that. And injustice as well as inequality. Now, this takes us to connecting human fraternity and social justice. So fraternity cannot exist without justice. Social and economic inequalities, like Charles mentioned, discrimination, marginalization, like many of us mentioned, erode peace and harmony. And human fraternity requires that we protect the dignity of vulnerable groups, we challenge unfair systems, we promote inclusion and equality. So, for example, policies that provide equitable access to education and healthcare strengthen the social fabric and demonstrate commitment to shared humanity. Now, in one sentence, what does this justice mean to you? One sentence, or even one word. What does justice mean to you? Just type your answer to stimulate reflection and discussion. It can also help us to learn what justice means to you. One or two words. What does justice mean to you? What does justice mean to all of us? Because this, we have mentioned it, injustice. It means that the opposite of injustice is justice. What does it mean for all of us in order to enhance human fraternity? It means fairness, brilliant. It means fairness. Thank you, Silvanus. Thank you, Marina, Shabina. It means freedom of speech. Thank you, Silvanus. And Gerber, it means equal rights and opportunities. I take us again to education and media as a tool for fraternity. It means equality, equality, equality. We can't forget that. And when we look at education and media, just to connect it to justice, education shapes how we perceive and interact with others. It instills empathy, critical thinking, and respect for diversity. And media likewise has enormous influence over public attitude and perceptions. Thank you, Ojuju. Justice means for the right to be given to everyone and fairness, protect and not putting fear on people. That's wonderful. Now we have a choice today and always to amplify stories of division or collaboration or cooperation. Of course, we will choose cooperation to share misinformation or verified information. Today, we are encouraged to choose sharing verified information. To speak with empathy or anger, today we choose to speak with empathy. And so, through intentionally using education and media like this to promote understanding, we can strengthen the foundations of human fraternity. Now, ask yourself whether when you come to interfaith and intercultural dialogue, we're talking about religion and culture, and they are often misunderstood in sources of conflict or as sources of conflict. Yet, at their best, they are instruments of compassion. I agree with that. Morality and community. Interfaith and intercultural dialogue encourages us to listen sincerely to one another, to speak with humility, and to focus on human values such as justice, kindness, and peace. For example, interfaith initiatives that bring people from different beliefs together for community service or shared projects demonstrate dialogue in action, reducing mistrust and foster collaboration in spite of our backgrounds, our status, our religious, our cultural backgrounds. So let's look at how we can live fraternity in everyday life. Human fraternity is practical and actionable. We can't just leave it on paper or just say it by word of mouth. It is demonstrated in everyday choices. And this is how we do it. And this is what can serve like a take home message for all of us. We need to speak up against discrimination and injustice. We need to treat others with dignity, and even when it is inconvenient. We need to choose empathy in moments of conflict. For example, helping a neighbor in need, supporting a colleague going through a difficult time, or mentoring a young person from a different background are all manifestations of fraternity in actions. You can go as far as mentioning small acts that multiply across community that create lasting social impact. You can mention some of them that can act like experiences of living fraternity in action. The chat room is open for you to share more on this. So these small acts come in to actually strengthen our human fraternity. Now, what is our role at the Global Peace Let's Talk? Today we've organized this event. So at Global Peace Let's Talk, we actually come in to share that peace begins with conversations like this, providing spaces for dialogue like we're doing, and reflections as well as collaboration. We turn such abstract ideas into practical action. And of course, through such platforms that we organize events all the time, we organize programs, people can share their experiences, learn from each other, and collectively envision a more inclusive and compassionate world. Now, as we mark this day today, let us move from reflection to action. We each have a role to play. I give us all this challenge. Reflect on our own, to reflect on our own biases and assumptions. Because usually assumptions go in as far as destroying relationships, human relationships. Reflect on the biases that you have onto others. Reflect on the assumptions that you have on others. Commit to respectful dialogue today and inclusive behavior. Act with empathy in your families, workplaces, communities, and online spaces. Even small individual actions can create ripple effects that strengthen bonds of human fraternity. Now, this is my closing reflection. And I think I have really been overjoyed with the feedback I've had in the chat room that have been teaching, that have been a learning opportunity for me and for many of us in this particular event. Now, human fraternity is both essential and practical. And through recognizing each other as members of one human family, this is what we affirm, that peace is achievable when dialogue and empathy guide our actions, and that dignity is non-negotiable and must be defended, and that we all are interconnected in a way, and collective well-being benefits everyone. We don't have to be selfish, like someone mentioned in the chat room. And that we need to thank the Global Peace Let's Talks for bringing such moments for us to reflect and introspect oneself, like Shabina has just said. These are moments of self-reflection as the messages are going through, as we share with one another. What are you thinking about some of the biases, about some of the things you've done to hurt one another, deliberately or otherwise? So let us continue not only to talk about peace, but to live it in every choice we make. Now, these are some of the questions I leave us with. How can we practice human fraternity in our immediate communities? I'm just dropping a series of questions. You can answer any one you like. How can we practice human fraternity in our immediate communities? Another question, what role can young people play in promoting peace and inclusion? And the next one is, how do we maintain dialogue and understanding in times of disagreement? And can you share an example where small acts of kindness or dialogue changed an outcome in your community? Share your feedback in the chat room. Share your feedback in the chat room. How do we maintain dialogue and understanding in moments of disagreement? Malik, thank you by respecting all and accepting all, affirming our differences. Thank you very much. This is so mindful and intentional response. How can we maintain dialogue and understanding in times of disagreement? What role can young people play when it comes to peace and inclusion? And how can we practice human fraternity in immediate communities? And that begins from our home, because they said charity begins at home. And of course, can you share an example where a small act of kindness or dialogue changed an outcome in your community? I think this particular question can open room for you to click the raise your hand button and share. Share by word of mouth. Of course, Ivanu says by forgiving one another. Very important. Malik, thank you. By walking in others' shoes. Empathy. Empathy. Shabina, refrain from debates. Follow one, respect all. Very important. And of course, there is someone with Techno KM4 who says, human fraternity, we must first educate ourselves before thinking of educating others. We cannot give what we do not have. And I agree with you, we shall give what we have. And you can't pour water from an empty cup. Honorable Professor Dr. Mbe, ripple effects from praying for others. These are small acts of kindness that come in to change things for good. Okay, we have the hand of Ojuju. Can you just unmute your microphone and share your contribution, please? Or the host, can you unmute him so that he can be able to talk? Malik, all humanity, one community, this spirit is pivotal. Of course, I agree with you in total. Or Juju Calabar, if you want to say something, kindly just unmute your microphone and the floor is yours. If anyone wants to speak, please kindly raise your hand. And of course, you'll be given the opportunity to chip in your contribution. And Marisa says, identify a safe place within the community where people can meet to promote human fraternity. That is really living it in action. Thank you, Marisa. That's quite important for us to consider. Ojuju says he can't unmute himself. Joseph or Norman, can you unmute him so that he can be able to speak? Shabina, silence plays a very important role in conflict resolution when everyone wants to prove its own point. So silence is not inaction, but a big action in itself. Fantastic. This is very important. Can we have Ojuju speak, please? And of course, Charles, young people getting involved in community service and saying no to gang or violence, using their voice positively, like getting involved in peace debates in schools. Wonderful contribution there. Thank you so much, Charles. That's a worthy one, a worthy take-home message. Can we have Ojuju speak, please, if we can unmute him? Okay, Ojuju, you can unmute now because I've already activated. Okay, that's fine. You can now speak, please.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me as well over here. It's wonderful to see you all from different angles of different countries and different nations. Based on human fraternity and how to promote it, based on my own understanding, is number one is start with everyday respect for everyone as well. I think also that also comes in greeting people warmly, regardless of their class, job, race, and probably the religion. Say please, thank you, and use appropriate words when seeking for something or trying to allow people to hear your voice. Treat service users or drivers or strangers with same respect as important people, regardless of whatever condition that they're going through. It's also good to treat people the same way, just like you would want anyone to treat you in the future or along the line. And also practice active listening. So when people are speaking, you have to practice more active listening, trying to listen to whoever that is speaking before you can just jump into a conclusion. Because I have come across where somebody is talking and then they're not listening and then they're trying to jump in, or someone is trying to make a speech that is very important and want people to hear them, or someone in the group or someone in the society in between that community is trying to prevent them from talking. So when you're doing that, you're not being an active listener, you're not participating in things to do with human fraternity. And then also let people share their own experience without interrupting them, which is what I just said as well. And then accepting someone's pain, can be real, even if you're not feeling that pain. You have to, when someone said to you, I am in pain, this is what is bothering me, this is how I am feeling. It is good to accept it, even to say you don't believe it, even if you're not seeing the reality physically, because there are some certain things that is happening in between somebody's mindset, which you might not see physical, but it is happening down there. So it is good as well, because if you're listening to someone and someone's expressing themselves to you and what they're going through, or the pain they're going through, or what you have already caused them at that point of time. It could be leaders, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be anybody, it could be at work. And you're not listening to it, you're causing them pain. And when they're trying to express their pain to you, that this is what they're feeling, this is how they're going, this is what you make them to feel. It is if you're not listening to that, it makes it worse as well in their life. Okay. And then also teaching, especially our children, which is those that are coming up, which is our younger children or younger adults in the society, also teaching them how to understand what is called everyday empathy, early empathy, because as they're growing up, they're learning from us, they're learning from what we're doing, they're learning from the society. It's just like if I remember back in the days where, I have to go to a meeting in a place, in a meeting council, and then the elders are speaking, and the elders say, "Oh, shut up, you do this." Now, when people are speaking those kind of, they're trying to shut you up in some certain things, you're trying to let them to understand that probably it might help them, it might, elevate them, it might help the society, it might help the community, it might help the family, or wherever you are, and they're trying to shut you up. Now, that information is difficult for you to relate it out, and then you start upholding that information, which in your heart, you feel like somebody need to, or people need to hear it and learn from it. Because when people hear from people's experience, we learn from it. That's how we grow. And when kids, our children or our siblings or people that are younger than us, or either older, it doesn't matter according to the age, but people that are there are seeing a leader who is doing something good, I believe they will follow that footstep. But when they find out that you're not doing something good, family, parents, mothers, brothers, and sisters, especially the elder ones, are not doing what is good, you find that the younger ones are also following that footstep, which makes it to be more difficult for them to learn, because it now becomes a generational cause, a generational problem, because we are learning from these people, we are growing behind them, and it's what they do that makes us to keep growing up and learning, whether in school, whether in the public. So if you're not doing all those kind of things, it becomes difficult for you to understand the human fraternity in life. And also encourage friendship with your kids. Make your kids, your children, to understand what is called friendship. Because if I remember those days when we were like kids, my mom used to say, "Oh, don't talk to your neighbor, our neighbor, because why? Both of them are quarreling." Now you're putting a hatred in me against somebody that have not done anything to me. Okay, so all these things can be a hindrance, can be a big impact in kids. How can you tell me I cannot speak to your neighbor when the neighbor haven't had any problem with me? And because of that hatred that you have already had with your neighbor, you now pass that hatred to your own child, and then your own child will not exhibit it to your neighbor that haven't even done anything to them. Now you escalate it. Now, whatever it is, it shouldn't be encouraging your child not to speak to your neighbor, especially when they haven't done anything to that child. And even if they do, you find a way to resolve the problem. Because if you don't, it's going to escalate. All right. Now, also correcting bullying. When you correct bully, when people are bullying someone and you find that this person is being bullied, whether at work, school, or on the road and public, anywhere, it doesn't matter where it happens, or at home, you correct them. Because when you correct them and say to them, "See, this thing, oh, you shut up, you are this, you are that, you are shut this, you are bastard." Now, all these things, you're bullying this person because probably this person could not be able to speak up for themselves, could not be able to stand up for themselves. So you're bullying them. And when one sees it, and able to correct it and challenge it and make amendment, then you find out the unity, the love within friends, family, and the society, it keep growing. And I think that's one of the most big impact about human fraternity. Then listening to fears. Now, fear, do not allow people to be afraid to speak up. Do not allow people to be afraid to approach you. There are some people who might be in a higher rank, who might be in a higher position, and then because of the fear they have put in the society, because of the fear they have put in the family, in their friends, it is difficult for one to approach them based on the fear of what they have put in the society or on the people, in their own people. So it becomes so difficult, and that's how it is. The next thing is, again, is speaking against hatred. When you are seeing people who are hating, despising, or whatever it is, whatever sentiment we are going to use it today, you are seeing that these words, these actions is a hatred. Now you speak against it, speak love, speak honesty, speak freely, make them to understand that this is going to cause a problem. And it can also arise into hatred in the community, in the society, in the public, in the family. And these are one of those most important things we need to understand and implement it in our everyday life of human fraternity. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Oh, sorry. Can we give him a round of applause in the chat room? That has really, really been really impressive. He's actually touched every area, every angle. That serves like practical experiences where we can be able to change things around for good, which is really, really encouraging. So please, let's kindly be able to leave these things in action so that at the end of the day, we are not just speaking about human fraternity because it's another international day, but we should actually speak about human fraternity because there is a cause we want to be able to champion. And this is coming as a result of the fact that most of the times a lot of people would go into such acts of change, but are not intentional about it. So we just need to be intentional about what the course we want to follow in terms of some of these practical experiences on the field and can be able to walk around them. Thank you, Dr. Mogishu. Thank you, Ojuju, before that. And going to some of the comments, really great comments in the chat room again. Dr. Mogishu, one of our executive of Global Peace Let's Talk, he says humanity matters in all human lives. We have to show we are caring in one way or the other. Seeing another human being like you remains another aspect of humanity. That's very important. And Shabina says, this platform is a beautiful example of fraternity. You've said it all. And Gaston says we should also practice values of mutual cooperation. And of course, we want to also recognize the presence of Dr. Ash Franka. Thank you for following. And of course, Prescience says, excellent. I'm happy that at least we're getting positive responses from this event. And of course, Dr. Mugisho adds that fraternity is mutual support, moral, material, emotional support. Valuing another human being is human fraternity. Victoria, thank you as well. By respecting people's views and opinions, don't be all knowing. Very important. And Dr. Ash, she marks her presence by saying that empathy is necessary to establish healthy relationships between human beings and to understand the needs of our fellow human beings. Only empathy can build bridges of peace. I agree with you. But unfortunately, many people lack sufficient empathy, often due to difficult living conditions. Empathy is rarely found in leaders if their lust for power and wealth is so strong that it hardens their hearts. Today, we face the dangers of AI under the aegis of a very few, very rich men. The real danger is very close. As we speak, control over us is exercised through social media. That's evident. I am a victim of this system. While speaking about Gaza and other sensitive political issues, I have been blocked several times and still I'm from commenting on and still I'm from commenting on Facebook. So you now see what this really means when it comes to really standing for the cause of human fraternity. It comes with a lot of speed breaks along the way. We want to encourage you, Dr. Ash. Don't give up. Keep fighting for the peace in the world. Keep fighting for human solidarity, human fraternity. And this is an encouragement to all of us. And I end with these particular words. And this has to do with the fact that, like she said, that social media often criticize deepening divides It can instead become a tool for connection when used responsibly. So stories of cooperation, resilience, shared struggle deserve much attention as stories of conflict. So in choosing words that heal rather than harm, societies can slowly change from that tone of public life, which fans hate, to now embrace love. So the International Day of Human Fraternity is therefore not a single date on the calendar, but an ongoing invitation to act with conscience every day. So together, these choices can shape a calmer and fairer tomorrow for us all. Thank you very much. And I hand the microphone back to Didan. Thank you. Can we have Didan, please? Didan, are you still in the room? I believe Didan is not in the room, and if we could have Joseph close these events, please, if we are inspired, can you just switch on your or activate your camera so we can take a memorable picture, a memorable souvenir before before Joseph, who is the acting leader for Global Peace Let's Talk, to close us with some kind words after all our deliberations for today. Please, can we activate our cameras? Let's activate our cameras. And as we activate our cameras, we have another event because once Joseph has spoken, I can't be able to come in. So please kindly activate your cameras as we call on Mr. Norman Zaki to take some professional photos for us. We're going to be having another event in just 2 days to come. And this is to mark the International Day of Zero Tolerance to Female Genital Mutilation. And you know, female genital mutilation is not a tradition, it is a violation. And we are having this event to protect girls, to educate communities, and to end female genital mutilation because we believe that her future, the future of the girl child, should not be cut short. So we are going to have this event on the 6th of February at 4 p.m. UK time and still on Zoom. And we will be having 3 keynote speakers to speak on this particular growing concern: zero tolerance to female genital mutilation. We're going to also share the link so that everyone can be able to be part of the panel. Is going to function like a panel discussion. So please do not touch that dial. February 6th, we are going to meet same time. And just to wrap up, what Juju says, human fraternity grows person by person, family by family. It is built by grand speeches alone. It's built by everyday kindness, fairness, courage. Your dignity matters just as much as mine. Shabina, thank you for such an enlightening session on fraternity. I do appreciate your contributions because I have learned quite a whole lot, and I can attest that most of us have also learned. So, Didan, can you usher in Joseph to speak, and then we can round off for today? Thank you.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me, Roslyn? Hello? Can someone confirm if I'm audible?
You're audible.
Because
Can you take
audible.
over now? Can you take over now
Okay,
while I
thank you
encourage
very much.
everyone to activate their cameras as we hand over the microphone back to the moderator? Didan, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for joining this event. It has been a good one, and we really accord your presence to this event. So we have other events like the one which you've been shown there, International Day of Zero Tolerance to FGM. So just try to be present during that event. We will really appreciate. So I'm using my phone. Please, if someone can help me to take the cameras. I have issue with the laptop for today, but next events I will be really available.
Norman is
Yes, I
taking the
have an
pictures, I
issue on
think.
my end.
Norman is
And thank
taking
you
the
very
pictures,
much.
I
The
think.
meeting is adjourned. All these events has come to an end. Thank you for joining. Thank you. So Joseph, if Joseph, Insha, please. Okay, thank you very much.
Sir Joseph, are you there, please? If you are there, just
Thank
give
you
us
very
the,
much.
can you activate,
Yes, thank you.
can you permit everybody to be able to activate their
We can
cameras and then
adjourn
you give
at
us
this
the
end.
closing, please. Joseph.
Okay. On that.
We're waiting for your closing.
Mama.
Are you there, Joseph?
Done already.
Yeah. We just
So-
need you to close us, Joseph. We are already running out of time. Just close us as the
All right.
leader of Global Peace Let's Talk, please.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for making it to the call today. We greatly appreciate your showing forth. Thank you so much on behalf of the leadership. We greatly appreciate your showing forth. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing more of your collaboration and much of your peaceful advocacy acts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, have a good morning, depending on where you join from. So see you on February 6th, and a very big special shout out to everyone who actually contributed to make this event a success. So see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.